All right, everybody. Welcome to the Contextual Christian Church Bible Study, where today we're going to read Esther chapter 4, verses 5 to 17. I'm going to pray it in. Everybody bow your heads. Father, thank you for getting us on this Bible study today to continue down Esther. Um, I guess we're going to see what outcome comes from the decree against the children of Israel and see how that goes. So let's go ahead and get started. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. So last time when we were going through in verses 19 through, oh wait, no, that's not right. Why did I go all the way far down there? Sorry about that. Somehow it ain't getting me to verse. Why is it doing that? There it is. I was on the wrong one. I was like, what the heck? I always like to double check myself, so I usually like to have it on the screen, but I was on the wrong days. So, anyways, we had from Esther chapter 3, verse 8 to chapter 4, verse 4. And as we were going through it, we had Haman who had tricked the king, at least I would call it tricking, by not giving the full information, lying by omission, manipulations. And the thing is that what he manipulated him into was the setting a decree to destroy all the Jewish folk, that they would be killed off in a certain specific night that hasn't happened yet from where we are at the timeline, but was going to happen in the not too distant future. And in this situation, we noticed a couple things. For one, Haman specifically went out of his way not to point out that it was the children of Israel, the Jewish folk that he was speaking about. He just said there was a certain group of people, and the fact that he did this makes sense from our perspective, understand it, because they already had a decree to the other kings that nobody was to mess with the children of Israel. And not only that, but they were to be helped financially with anything they needed to build the temple of God. So after this, we had where Mordecai, when he had realized everything that was happening, he tore his clothes. He went completely berserk because of the fact, in a depression way, because and the shame because of what had happened. And even Esther had saw this, and she tried to give him some clothes to cover himself, but he refused it. So right now we're in a moment where it hasn't happened yet, but there's a threat against all the Jewish folk in the Persian Empire at this moment. And we'll see what ends up happening next as we get to verse 5 on. And then I'll go ahead and switch it to the first section so our first reader can read. And go ahead, Charles, when you're ready.
All right, I'll be reading Esther chapter 4, verses 5 to 9. I'll give it a couple seconds. Verse 5. Then called Esther for Hatak. 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 There we go. One of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was. So Hatak went forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them. Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king to make supplication unto him, and to make requests before him for her people. And Hatak came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Okay, so um Esther sends Hatak, which is what's another a eunuch? No way. I was gonna say a servant. I wanted to re-explain Chamberlain.
Chamberlain
They're
is not a
eunuchs?
eunuch.
They're not a eunuch?
Eunuch is they're both a type of servant unto a kingdom,
Then I'll
but
leave
they're
servant
specific.
into the kingdom because on the
Yeah.
Strongs it says eunuch.
Yeah. Well, remember that when we read of the eunuchs in the Bible, they didn't just had them chopped off for no reason. Do you know why they became eunuchs?
Isn't it? Well, in the Bible, I don't remember. I'm thinking of other contexts of other reasons, but
No, no,
no, I
it's
don't
the
remember the
same
Bible.
as the other reasons. The reason why men were turned into eunuchs when they would be in service to the king was to get rid of any possibility of dual citizenship, so to speak, dual loyalty. If you don't have your manhood or anything that comes along with it, then you have no obligation or ability towards a wife. In which case, you can give 100% of your effort and everything unto the king and in service of them. That's why
Okay,
they would be made eunuchs. So
so
chamberlains and eunuchs both had the same job. They're the same
servant
kind of
and
person.
kingdom. So yeah,
Exactly.
I'm gonna leave it at the servant one. I didn't see that coming when I went to the Strongs.
Yeah.
So Esther's sends Hatak, which is like a servant of the kingdomhood, to go ask Mordecai what's going on. And Mordecai tells him what you basically said in the summary, Haman and all of that, trying to pay the price to get rid of the Jews and all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
Hatak brings it back to Esther. That's basically oh well, I need to before I end it, I have to add this. Mordecai also sent him to tell her, hey, go talk to the king about this situation. Now I'm done with the
Hmm.
explanation.
One thing I think you forgot to add in your explanation that I think needs to be explained. Your hint, it's towards the end, but not at the end, towards the end of verse 8.
Towards the end,
Hmm.
that was given and Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, to declare it unto her, charge her that she should go in unto the king, to make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people. Oh, I didn't add the part of where it says to make supplication unto him and to make a request. In other words, try to talk him
Exactly.
out of. I heard no.
No, I said exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. To talk, basically, in other words, talk to the king to take back what Haman and all of that has set up. Get them to take this back so we can we not fearing our lives and we're not because they're still in the sackcloth and ashes right now.
Yep. What's the difference between a prayer and supplication, Thomas?
Uh, I'm not sure.
All right, Charles.
Me neither. And it's gonna take me a while to find that definition in my stack.
All right. Prayer can either be a conversation or a request for something. It can be on either side, but it's a deep thing you're trying to do with God. When you're praying to God, you could be just complaining about your situation. You could be telling him about the frustrations. Moses did that. Also, when you're praying to God, you could be making requests. And then there's supplications. Supplication, think of the word supply. Well, if you have a supply problem, then what is your problem? What are you trying to do, Charles?
If I have a supply issue, I need more supply, so I'm gonna.
Exactly. You're trying to fix up your needs to get the things that you need. So, supplication is not just a prayer request when we really think about it in context. Supplication is a pleading, almost a begging for assistance. And that's the difference between a prayer and a supplication. Prayer is literally just conversation to God in multiple contexts. But usually, even if it is a request, even if it is asking something, it's not always pleading. But when we are called for prayer and to make supplication, It means that we're supposed to be heartfelt and we're supposed to be pleading for the things in that situation of the context in the New Testament verse I'm bringing up. But here specifically, it's saying to make supplication unto the king. Well, if we take supplication as only meaning the meaning of prayer and not meaning of the pleading for a need to be filled, pleading for help, begging for help, then wouldn't this be either a contradiction or a sin, Thomas?
Yeah, I would say so.
And what would the sin be?
Um, isn't it in regards to who you're pleading to?
Yeah. In other words, simplified, idolatry.
Idolatry.
You would be treating the king as an idol if what it meant by supplication means the same as prayer all the time, rather than pleading or begging for help with the need that you have. So, having that understanding of the word supplication and what it means makes a massive difference on that context from something that this is a sinful thing to, in the reality of the context, it's not. Because supplication is not something you can only do to God. Supplication is something you can do to multiple different kinds of people. It's different than that. All right. Now, does anybody have anything they want to add or say as we go to the next section? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right. Then go ahead, Thomas, when you're ready.
I'll be reading Esther chapter 4, verses 10 through 14. Give it a couple seconds. Again, Esther spake unto Hathach and gave him commandments unto Mordecai and all the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces. Do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out. Sorry, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden. What is that? Scrape
Scepter. That's how you spell scepter.
scepter. Okay,
Yeah.
scepter.
Like a staff, a scepter. That's actually how you spell it.
Okay,
I know it's a
that he
weird
may
spelling,
live.
but that's how you spell it even today.
Scepter. That he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther. Think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house, more than all the Jews. For thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews for another place, from another place. But thou and thy father house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the king for sure for such a time as this?
The kingdom for such a time as this.
Come to the come to the kingdom for such a time as this. All right. Give me a couple seconds, a few seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hold on, I'm almost done. Okay. So we got Esther speaking to Hatat. and this is in regards to um hold on one second. Let me get my words together before I just say it. Give me a few more seconds.
Not a problem. Here's a hint though. Who's the him in 10?
And again, Esther spake unto Hathach and gave him commandments unto Mordecai. Hathach, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So who
So
was
we got,
given commandments?
so Esther was talking to Hathach to give commandments to Mordecai.
Nope.
And again, Esther spake unto Hathach and gave him commandments unto Mordecai.
Yeah, gave him commandment.
Oh, so the commandments came from Mordecai.
No. Don't guess. And Esther spake unto Hatak and gave him. So who's
Oh,
giving Hatak
Esther is. My
something?
bad. Esther is.
There you go. There you go. So Esther is giving Hatak a commandment.
Yeah. So Esther
Yep.
gives Hathach a commandment, and then it goes into this unto Mordecai. So we got a continuation. Let me read level one more time. All the king's servants and the people of the king's province do know that whosoever, whether man or woman. So then we get into how, despite if you king's servant, king province, whatever the case may be, if you come into the inner court without being called, there's a law that states that you should be put to death for it, except for the people who hold out the golden scrape, like you were saying.
Scepter, not scrape.
Scepter. I keep saying scrape. Scepter.
So
And
what is she saying by saying that? What is she really getting at?
like if you ain't got no urgent message or anything of the such, don't just show up trying to go talk to the king.
Nope. It didn't
Cause
say
you can.
anything about an urgent message.
So what is a golden scepter? Like, isn't it the people who pull up with the
What is a
messages?
scepter?
That's what I'm trying to establish here. Let me check.
Oh, my bad. Scepter is like a staff. It's something you hold. A lot of times you'll see pharaohs in old movies and stuff when they're sitting down and they're holding a rod in their hand that it has like a larger piece on the top. Or a king will have a staff and he'll have jewelry on it and stuff. That's a
Yeah.
scepter.
So what sets them apart? I mean, I understand they have a golden scepter, but like, what's so special about that that they are able to go even if they weren't called upon?
Well, it doesn't say that. It says, except to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter. Is that
Okay.
more than one?
No, the king.
Exactly. So whoever the king holds out the golden scepter to, they can do it and live. But outside of that, everybody else is going to be killed unless they're called. They can't just show up to the king. So what is Esther
Okay.
actually trying to say by saying that? What's her goal in saying that?
She trying to she's being clever right here. She's trying to persuade him not to go approach the king with this decree in regards to trying to kill
No,
the.
you forgot the context from Thomas. You forgot the context from Charles's section.
So at the end of Charles, let me see if I can remember, but just in case, I'm gonna go back.
Mm-hmm.
So Esther was trying to persuade them not to go, uh, to, trying to persuade the king not to proceed with the decree on in killing the Jews and stuff
No.
like that.
When did it say she actually did it?
You're right. So they were getting into it.
Nope.
Let me
When
go
did it
look.
say they got into it?
Let me just
Instead
go
of
look.
guessing, remember that correction I gave you a long time ago. What are you supposed to do? Do you just guess or do you look first?
I'm about to go look right now.
All right. But always remember, always reread first before you throw out a guess. Even if you think you have the right answer, but throw a check first before you throw out BS answer because it could be a good one, but it could also be a BS one. The only way you'll know is if it even slightly matches what was said before in its context. All right. So what was Charles in Charles's section? What was told to Esther from Mordecai?
So I'm in 8 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read that. Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and and to charge her that she should go in unto the king to make supplication unto him, and to make
Now, what does it
request
mean to charge her?
like to request of her, right?
No.
Let me look
Command
charge
is a
up. Command.
not.
Okay.
You were
Okay.
close, but it's not a request. It's a command. So he's commanding her to go talk to the king to show him all this. But did it say anywhere that she's done it yet?
No.
Exactly. So she gets commanded by Mordecai to go talk to the king to plead the case for everyone and to show him the evidence. And then in your section, and Esther spake unto Hatak and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death,
Right.
except such to whom. So this is her response. Why would she be
And
bringing this up?
because then she goes in the next verse, it says that how she hasn't been called upon the king in 30 days. So she ain't trying to go get killed by
There
doing
you
so.
go.
And then it goes
She
into
is
say
saying
how
she
just
doesn't
because
want to
you're
get killed.
right. And
Exactly.
then it goes and talk about how, oh, like just because you in the king's house, it doesn't make you any different. You know, you can still get killed for doing such.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So Mordecai's response to her is like, what, you think you're going to be able to escape just because you're in the king's house more than any other Jews?
Right.
Because even if you altogether hold your peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. So even if you're not the one that does right and we get saved, even if it's not you, it's going to come from somewhere. But you and your father's house shall be destroyed. And then, so you got that part right. So he was like, you don't be sitting there thinking you're going to get away with it. Even if we get deliverance from a whole different place rather than you, you, you think you're going to get away? And if that were to happen, you and your father's house would be destroyed. And then he says one last thing, and this is a big part of it. What is the last thing he points out?
Let me read 14 real quick.
Mm-hmm.
For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. For thou and thy father house shall be destroyed, and who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom of such a time as this?
Not of.
I was just about to reread that part. And who
Okay.
knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
Good.
Uh, Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
So is he saying accusing her of that her being her purpose all along?
Accusing?
Hold on. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Oh, like not accusing, sorry. So
You know what the problem with accusing is, right?
yeah, I shouldn't have used that in the first place. Enlargement.
Well, no, but what is the problem with the word accusing? Because your point is right, but accusing is wrong. What's wrong with accusing?
Well, that's an accusation for something that didn't even take place yet.
No. Let me give Charles a chance. Charles, what's the problem with the use of the word accusing here?
Um, I don't know. I just thought it didn't fit the context.
And why is that?
Because in Thomas's section, this isn't a point to accuse and coming from that. This is a pleading, begging situation, not a point the finger and accusing situation. That's what I got out of it.
Okay, what does it mean to accuse, Charles? You're right on the line of it.
When you're accusing, that comes from like it comes from a, it doesn't come from begging and pleading sorrowful emotion. It came from like a irritating or an angry perspective. Like I'm accusing you of doing this, doing that. You're not doing what you should be doing, in other words, kind
No,
of thing.
Charles, I'm gonna ask you the question again. You didn't pay attention to the question. What does it mean to accuse someone of something? Not what's the impact of it. What does it mean to do it?
You're telling them that they did something that they didn't do.
Thank you. Exactly. Was he sitting here telling her that she's doing wrong when he says that? Who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this, Thomas?
No.
That's the problem with the word accusing. Accusing means you're telling someone they did something wrong, or you're saying, even if it's third person, you're saying that somebody's done something wrong. That's what it means to accuse. But there was no statement of her having done anything wrong yet. So it can't be accused. But as Charles did point out, when you're accusing, the impact side of it, it's coming from frustration, it's coming from something else. It's not like you're pleading for something. See, that's the impact of accusation. It's not begging or pleading when you're having an accusation. And so when he says this, it's not accusing, but your point of him saying that something saying that this against her, well, it's not necessarily against her. What he's actually saying is, who knows whether or not the whole purpose of you being in the kingdom was for a time like this? Who knows whether or not the position you're in was given to you for this specific reason? Well, not reason, for this specific time. And what's going on in this time right now, Thomas?
He's trying to knock some Jews off, all the Jews.
Yeah. Yeah, Haman is trying to kill all the Jews. And Mordecai tells Esther, who knows if this is the whole reason why you're in the kingdom at this timeline. So what is he actually telling Esther by saying that, Thomas?
Kind of saying, "Oh, you were put in this position in for a reason. You gonna do what you need to do or
Exactly.
not?"
Exactly. He hasn't said she's done wrong yet, but he has pointed out the possibilities of wrong. Oh, you're sitting there saying that, like, well, if I go try to talk to him, I'm gonna be killed. Mordecai's like, you might get killed whether you talk to him or not. Don't think you're gonna escape just because you're in the king's house. You think you're better than other Jews? You're not. As a matter of fact, let's say you held your peace at this time, and there is an enlargement and deliverance for the Jewish folk from somewhere else. You and your father's house are going to be destroyed. And who knows if the whole reason you're in the kingdom right now was for this purpose, so we don't get destroyed by Haman. So he's calling her out on her mentality. He's calling her out on her purpose. I'm not calling her out. He's saying to her about her mentality, how it's wrong. He's saying to her about her potential positive purpose. And now this may be the whole reason God put her in the position to begin with. Meanwhile, she's sitting here just focusing about herself. So it's not an accusation entirely. but it is a begging and pleading for her to do her job as queen and to take the risk to save all the children of Israel that are here. Does that make sense, Thomas?
Absolutely.
All right, that makes sense, Charles.
Now it does.
All right. Now then, does anybody have any comments or questions as we go to the final section? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right, then go ahead, Charles, when you're ready.
Last one, I'll be reading Esther chapter, if I can fix my phone. Esther chapter 4, verses 15 to 17. I'll give it a couple seconds. Verse 15. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer: Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him. Okay, so Esther responds to Mordecai to tell him and the Jews that are in Shushan for 3 days, don't eat no water, don't eat or no eat no water. Don't eat no food, don't drink no food, don't drink no water. No, basically you're fasting for the 3 days. But
Hey,
she
that's that
also
liquid steak.
she's she's also gonna do it with her maidens as well. And then after that, she's gonna go to the king, and if she perishes, otherwise if she dies, she dies. After that, Mordecai he goes his way to do what Esther told him to do.
Good. All right. Let's see. I was trying to find something in the meantime. You just made me think of something. You remember in the movie, in Disney cartoon movie Beauty and the Beast, where
Nah, it's been a while.
he's pouring the soup in his mouth.
I just had an image of like a fork and a bowl of water.
Yeah, he literally pouring it, and as he putting it towards his mouth, he's just like chewing on it, bro. Like, oh,
Oh,
that's funny.
that's so funny.
I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna send it to you later. Anyways, yeah, exactly. Tells him to go fast, and then says, "If I perish, I perish." Now, here's the thing. This could be looked at as a couple ways. One, she could be being sarcastic right now about the whole "if I perish, I perish," adding that little side quip, or she could be serious. But at least she tells him to go fast. And why would you go fast for something like this? Well, she's afraid. She's willing to go do it now that he's told her that truth and she understands it. She's willing to take the risk of her life now. But that don't mean she's not scared. And so what she tells them to do is to entreat themselves to God, to show through behavior supplication unto God. So when we look at it from that perspective, we see again when people are praying or making requests unto God, it's not some nonchalant thing. It's not something just to get it done and over with. And it's not some BS prayer. They're going in, they're going as far as they can, and they are making sure it is heartfelt as much as possible. And so Mordecai did it. So good. Good job on your explanation, Charles and Thomas. Good work today.
Thanks.
Now, does anybody have any other comments or questions before we pray it out? Thomas said steak juice.
That'll be the joke of the week.
Oh man, next time I drink water, I'm gonna try chewing it.
No,
Anyway,
something tells me you both are gonna call me like, "Oh man, we got this. We got
got
our
this.
water with a side of salt and a fork, buttered up. You got to make sure get
So
slices
you
of
know,
our water."
well, hey, look, if I put some lemon in it, I'm definitely eating some food. I'm eating some water.
One day I feel like one of y'all gonna call me like, "Man, I'm chewing these ice. I got to fast, but I got to chew these icicles first before I fast. Chew this ice."
Drink your food, chew your food, chew your water. Anyways, all right, go ahead, Thomas, and pray us out from the Bible study portion.
All right, if you guys can bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for a good Bible study. Excited to find out whether or not Esther's stepping up or stepping out. But it's a pleasure to be back at it, and I thank you. I also pray that the remainder of our days go well, and in Jesus' name I pray, Amen.
Amen. All right, so actually tonight's Bible listening portion, we got Deuteronomy. Oh, skipped over it. Deuteronomy chapter 23 through to 34. 23 to 34. Let me know when you got it.
Got it.
I
All
got it.
right. Good. All right. Then last night's was Deuteronomy chapter 9 to 22. Go ahead, Thomas, when you're ready.
I do not have it, guys. I've been slacking, but
All right.
getting back on track. Oh, just a heads up, by the way. Never mind. I'll wait till after. Go ahead.
All right. Then Charles, go ahead when you're ready.
Give me a second. I just gotta change it on my calendar. So this one in particular had a lot of them, funny and not so funny. Let me go to my list. So I got for this section. Nope, that was the last one. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verses 1 to 5. Why did I write that one down? I hate when I write them down, like because I did it so early. Yeah, I did it so long ago that I don't even remember
Oh, the
why I
false
wrote this down.
prophets.
Let me read this real quick. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, "Let us go after other gods." Ha 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 ha! Oh, now I remember the prophet of the dreamer of dreams trying to convince y'all to to stop worshiping God, to go worship other gods. In other words, to stop following God's will and God's way. Not only will he die, you will stone him to death. That's why I wrote this down. Got it. And I think I wrote down also 6 down. Let me double check. I did. 6 to 10, same chapter. If thy brother, thy son of thy mother, so basically any one of your family members, friends, your neighbor, if they are secretly trying to pull you from God to go serve other gods, they also will die. And you will also stone them to death. Or no, will you? Yeah, you will. Yeah, yeah, you're gonna stone them to death. Yeah, those are the two I had wrote down. I wrote down one other one I really want to bring up. Let me see. Deuteronomy chapter
What if it's your
15.
mom?
Uh I'm gonna send her this. Sorry, mom. Love you.
So I guess
You
when
got
God said
you got
honor
to
thy
go.
mother and father, it didn't mean you approve or stand by their bad behaviors or
No,
stay silent when they do it.
no.
This is something I'm glad you pointed out because for a different reason.
Okay.
Parents love to say that you are not honoring your mother or father if you call out their bad behaviors. When they lie, when they're hypocritical, if they steal, it doesn't matter what the bad behavior is. If they're hypocrites, it doesn't matter. If you tell them that they're doing wrong, they will say two things, one guaranteed in some way, shape, or form, and the other possibility wise. The one that's guaranteed is they will definitely tell you you're being disrespectful. You're disrespecting your mom in some way, shape, or form. Then you got the other side. You got the other side where they may even try to bring up the verse that says, honor thy mother and father. Doesn't the Bible say to honor thy mother and father? Yeah, it does. But it also says that we are to hold, no matter who it is, to the account of God and how we are supposed to live. So they don't get special treatment just because they're our father or mother. We may have to give them, make sure we got two or three witnesses. We may need to be more respectful in the essence of certain sins. There is some example of that where, like, if it's an elder, we don't just like physically reprimand them, like hitting them right off the bat. So a level of discipline may be different, but you're still disciplined. And the level of discipline that they would do, the minimum is calling them out. These people are being put to death. You don't get away with it just because you're my mother. You don't get away with it just because you're my father, regardless of which side. And that's what that verse goes to prove at the same time. Doesn't matter who it is. Even as it points out, nor thy fathers. When it says, other gods which thou hast not known, thou or thy fathers. It's pointing out this is something that even the fathers didn't know these gods. Cool. All right, go ahead, Charles, with the next one. Don't forget to unmute.
Oh, my bad. Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 6. For the Lord thy God blessed thee as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. And thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. Now, last time we did the Bible study, we talked about, I was at first, I was like, oh, okay, because at first it didn't hit, but of course it would make sense. What if you're a nation or a country where all the other ones need your help? Oh man, can we borrow this? Can we borrow that? Well, technically, with that debt, that overlining debt over a whole country, over a whole nation, you in a sense rule them in a way. Oh yeah, we'll give you this money if you do boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, we'll help you out
Mm-hmm.
with this if you do this, 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 and that. Oh well, of course they're gonna do it because they need it, and you're the only one probably gonna give it. I think of how China has a foothold on like 25% of Africa because they've given out so many loans to African countries. Africa, it doesn't matter what they say, what they do. You want to fight back, this, that, and the third. You have to go by those terms that China put out because China forked all that money out. China basically
Exactly.
runs 25% of Africa because of that. Um, I don't really know what America runs as far as us giving, lending to other countries. I'm not sure, but I know for sure China, they basically run a quarter of Africa because of all the lending and all of that. Which is funny because they're
Exactly.
following that principle, but anything else biblical, no, they throw that in the water. So,
Well, it goes
yeah,
to show
that's
the point. You don't have to be Christian and be successful. If you follow the biblical principles, you will be successful. And
yeah,
financially speaking, if you just follow the principles, you don't even got to be saved. You like literally just follow the principles of behaviors. You're gonna be good. But anyways, I had one, and that was your third one, right?
that was my third. Yep.
All right. I had one from the same section, but for a whole different reason. But it was 1 through 6 for me. Where was it? Verse. Where is it? No, it was 7 to 11. My bad.
Same
So it
chapter,
was
right?
right after. Same chapter. If there be among you a poor man, one of thy brethren within any of thy gates, and thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother. But thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Beware, in verse 9, that there be not thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the seventh year The year of release is at hand, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him not, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be a sin unto thee. Two things. One, the mentality that it points out in 9. Just because it's the year of Jubilee, just because it's that 7th year, that's year of rest, or when it is that, and you're supposed to be canceling all debts, just because that's coming up, you don't get to sit here and start sitting like, you know what? I'm not giving out no loans to nobody this year. I'm not giving it to nobody. Because God is taking care of you anyways for the children of Israel at this time. God is taking care of them anyways. Everything they have is from God blessing them. And he's going to take care of them even further. And so, but also notice when it said it, did it say Charles give him money?
No, let me go back. Sure, and thou shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need. It didn't say money.
Lend. Okay, lend. Is lend the same thing as giving, Thomas?
No.
So I guess even when they gave to the poor, they didn't just give it without any expectation, huh? See, we love to talk about, oh, well, they had all this available for the poor. They had all this available. Yeah, they did. But not without any requirement of work or effort, not without you wanting to try and build yourself. Even in the last year, where like this is the year where all debts are supposed to be settled, you are lending him this money. You're taking a contract with this person that you're going to help them out and they're going to pay you back the money they owe you. So don't be sitting here being hard hardened because it's the year of Jubilee where everything gets canceled out. You still should be lending to them, helping them out if they're in need. And if they are in need and you don't lend them the money, now that's a problem against you. Now you're in sin for not doing it. But nowhere in this section did it say just give it to them. Every single part of it said lending it. So they're making an agreement they'll pay you back. Now, if they don't end up paying you back, God's going to take care of you regardless. But how is that any different with any other debt? Charles, if I lend you some money and I know how good you are about paying back, am I guaranteed you're going to pay me back the money?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. What if you got hit by a bus and you in the hospital?
I didn't know.
What if your mom went in the hospital and you got funds you got to pay?
Yeah, no.
Thomas, even if I only lent you $5, just $5, which is nothing, am I guaranteed to get that money back from you? No matter how good you are about paying back bills?
No.
Nah, there is no guarantee. Yes, you make that contract. Yes, you make that agreement. You're going to pay back. Cool. That doesn't guarantee there's going to be a follow through. No matter how righteous the person is, things pop up. Here's a perfect example in my own life. Because of my truck breaking down and because of being stuck for 2 weeks and then having all the bills come out and everything, I had to get help from Charles. I was supposed to pay him back last Friday, but I asked him if he's okay if I give him partial of it because my brother Zach, his funding came out and stuff, his car payment and groceries. And so I offered to help him out. So when I asked Charles if I could pay back partial, Charles said I could just pay him back this Friday, period. But that was not the original agreement. It was supposed to be paid back on Friday, the last Friday. That's the point. It doesn't matter how good Charles, have I ever not paid you back
You always pay me
even
back.
once?
Yeah, you always pay me
Always.
back.
I even do it when you forget that it happens. So the thing is, just because somebody's good for the money does not mean they're good for the moment. And just because you lend money doesn't mean you're going to get it back. So yeah, but that doesn't mean it takes away from you lending that money and helping them out. And no, you are not just giving them the money. It is lending. Maybe they could pay it back with effort. Maybe they could pay it back with other stuff. But lending is very different than giving. And even for the poor that needed help, it said to not stop lending to them. Never said just giving them, period. It's different in how people like to talk about it. And it goes into the same focus about people establishing their own righteousness. Nowhere in the Bible, in the entirety of it, does it ever once say, just give to the poor and let them stay poor. Nowhere. Every part where it says to help the poor, it does say to help them in times of need, but it also shows that there needs to be work. They need to be trying to better themselves. They need to be trying to do the right thing. Not once does it say to give them just to have them stay the same. Never in the Bible does it say that. Even here in one of the most blatant ones about giving them, it still used the word lend, not give. All right. Then the second one that stood out to me, I'll point out, is in chapter was it 17? No, this is okay. I gotta point that out last. I'll point out chapter 19 last. So the first one that stood out to me, chapter 9, verse 5 to 8. I had a big old gap between the ones that stuck out for me. In chapter 9, verse 5 to 8. Understand therefore, oh, no, that's verse 6. Not for thy righteousness or for the uprightness of thine heart dost thou go to possess their land, but for the wickedness of these nations. This whole section is Moses and God telling the children of Israel that when we go to this land that you're going to possess, this promised land, you need to understand something very important. It's not because you are righteous. It's not because you were doing the right thing. As a matter of fact, all you ever did for the most part was provoke the Lord to wrath in the wilderness. From the day you left from the land of Egypt, even until you came to this place, you continued to be rebellious. The only reason you're getting to go to this promised land, first and foremost, God promised it. Secondly, and the part that it points out here, because these nations were so wicked that it was already accepted in God's stated by God and put into place that they were going to lose this land to you. So it's because of their wickedness that they're losing it, not because of your righteousness that you're gaining it. It's kind of like how in sports, one thing that they very rarely do, they don't have cause and effect ratios. If you are playing football, NFL team, they'll have the amount of drops. What they don't have as a stat is who the drop is caused by. Was it caused because the receiver, hey, just dropped it? Was it caused because of bad placement from the quarterback? Was it caused because of the defender? The cause behind the action matters. It matters to say how good a team or player is. And in the same token, it matters as to say why you're getting what you're getting, if it's really because you're doing good or not. And he's pointing out to them, you're not doing good. This is only because they're doing worse. And then the last part I had to bring up, which is this is in my top, and I didn't know where the verse was, but it is in my top 10 favorite sections of the Bible. And I always forget where it's at, even I'll forget it again, but it is definitely my top 10 favorite sections of the Bible. Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 16 to 21. And I got to read this whole thing for the point. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priest and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness be a false witness, and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil again among you. And thine eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. So this is one of my favorite because if this law was on the books in America today, do you know how much easier it would be to deal with a lot of the problems that are false claims? See, there is no actual conviction or anything for a false claim. The best case you could do is a defamation lawsuit. Maybe you get to owe them some money if you defame somebody. But that's not right. Because if we were in a court of law and that same accusation came out and it was proven true, they would be in prison on the books. We've seen this all throughout history. Charles, do you think there'd be as much of a problem of believing women in times of claims of SA if a person was falsely charging somebody, falsely claiming somebody was doing it, they got put in prison for S assault and put on the books as a predator?
No.
Exactly. Thomas, if somebody went to jail for falsely accusing of embezzling or attacking children intimately, if they went to jail for false claims, would we have as much of a problem of trusting if the person actually did it or not, and understanding who's in the right, who's in the wrong? Don't forget to unmute.
Yeah, that was choppy.
Yeah. Oh, your signal was bad. Long story short, abuse and all different kinds of things where people go to jail for false charges would not exist if this was a law. Matter of fact, I have a charge on my record that's false. Domestic battery. Never happened. But I was at risk of homelessness at that time. So I had to take the charge with a no contest in hopes to keep my job to prevent me from ending up on the streets. I ended up there anyways, but it was to prevent that was the whole point. Rather than having that happen, I wouldn't even have a record at all if a law like this existed. So that's why that one's one of my top 10 favorite sections. And I always forget where it is, but it is one of that I'd say a lot, especially with political things. We had a law that condemned and actually put people in punishment for giving false charges, especially legal ones, rather than just a fine. It wouldn't be an issue. All right. Now, do you guys have anything you want to add or say before we close it out? Now would be the time.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Thomas.
Guys, I won't be on tomorrow because I'll be mid-air, so heading back to Iowa.
Oh yeah, you might not be on. Try to see if you could stop in the middle. If a little is up for, at least give you the time. But if not, it's understandable. You don't know where you're going to be at that hour. You might not be in a place with signal, and you're not in control of it. What time is your
Right.
flight?
It's at 3 till 11, bro. I got a freaking layover in Texas, we get there around like I think 6:30.
And what time does it head out for the next one?
I think within like the next hour. I'm not sure. I gotta look at it. Hold on.
All right.
Depart Perry Airport. Arrive in Dallas at 7:52 and leave at 9 and arrive at 11 in Cedar.
Well, Dallas is central, so 7:52 is 5:52. You could catch a little bit, so jump on for the amount you can, and then the day after, go ahead and watch the full thing.
All right.
But thank you for the heads up.
Yep.
All right, now, Thomas, there was something else you wanted to say that you said you were going to wait for. What else
That
did you
was
want to say before we close it up? Oh, that was it?
that. Yep.
All right, cool. All
All
right,
right.
y'all. Well, safe travels, Thomas, and shoot me a text. Let me know when you got home safe. And
All right.
before
We'll
you
do.
leave, please.
Yep.
All right, and then the key. I got that glass bowl on the table right next to the door. Just go ahead and
Okay.
lock the bottom lock, and then put the key in that bowl.
All right.
And don't forget to, obviously, I don't even need to say it, but just out of force of habit, don't forget to put the chain around it and lock it up before you do that.
Yep. I got
But
you.
when you do, you know how I had it before, how it was like slanted against the wall.
No, I picked it up from. We picked it up from the freaking truckyard.
Oh, okay. So, okay, my bad. So where I keep it is, how there's the concrete where the edge of the car should go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It, so I usually keep it beyond that, between that and the wall, sideways. So like
Okay.
underneath the awning, but like in between the concrete thing and the wall, sideways. So that way I have
All right.
space for my car, but it's also not in the middle where the bird's gonna poop on it or something.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Have a good night. Oh, Charles, I'm calling you a second. I almost forgot something.